You're listening to AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio, Clutch with Keon Rose. That's me. Thank you for joining me today, giving me just a little slice of your time. You know that I appreciate you. Cannot stress enough how important you are to making this show happen. When you check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, really gives us a boost and creates a conversation that we can all join in and talk about. This is a sports show. We do this every day at 6 o'clock, and I look forward to it a ton because it gives me the opportunity to talk about not just sports, but things in life that are really, really cool. So, before I jump into how it is that you can find us and where it is that you can find us, I'd really like to talk about just what it is that I've gotten myself caught up in here. I've been reading the book Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell, who is a really good writer and really somebody who writes on a lot of interesting topics. He digs beneath the first view that we see in a lot of things to what it is that causes those things to be. And it kind of coincides with some of the news stories we'll be covering today. So I'm super interested in all of that. But I can't put that book down. It is an incredible read, at least worth checking out. If you can find it, it's called Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell. I've heard him in interviews before, and he's a smart guy, but I was blown away by the content of that book. And the University of Tennessee has done something that is tied into that book. So I figure, why not? Let's talk about it. But before I get into all of that, I mentioned the social media where you can help give us a boost and where we can interact with you. But I'd be hard pressed not to mention that hotnewstalkradio.com is your home for streaming Hot News Talk Radio 24/7, 365, including this show. But you can also check out all of the social media platforms from there. You can click on the links that'll take you straight to YouTube or Facebook or Twitter. We pipeline news directly to you. And you can check us out in the TuneIn Radio app. That's the TuneIn Radio app. It's absolutely free. Simply search it in your favorite app store. Give us a favorite by searching Hot News Talk Radio in the TuneIn Radio app. Press play, and you'll have Hot News Talk Radio everywhere you go. So I want to talk about, let's get into some news stories quickly, because I mentioned a little bit yesterday, the Tennessee versus Virginia Tech game, that's week 2 of this college football season, is sold out. Okay, game's taking place at Bristol Motor Speedway, and there's just a lot of things I think going on with Tennessee football that puts the Vols in a position to be a really premier school in the next few years, and not just this, up and coming bunch of freshmen. This is the time right now, because everyone keeps talking about, the Vols are young. The Vols are young. They'll get it. The time to strike is right now. The Vols are young-ish. Okay, your best players are juniors. You're not young anymore. This is it. Okay, Josh Dobbs, Jr. Jalen Hurd, Jr. Okay, these are not super freshmen. They definitely were super freshmen. When Josh Dobbs came in and took over as Vols quarterback, he was amazing. But again, this is the time to step up and go to the next level. Can Josh Dobbs move the ball down the field, get the Vols moving down the field with more than just his legs? Can he use his arm and get the ball down the field? We want to see that development. Jalen Hurd is, according to ESPN, they did a poll of the top 5 sleeper picks for the Heisman Trophy from all the Power 5 conferences. Jalen Hurd, one of ESPN's sleeper picks for the Heisman Trophy, and he's got as good a shot as anybody. Okay, it's hard to tell, but you could have some games with LSU and Leonard Fournette where LSU just kind of fades into the background, because that's what LSU is built like, because they have no quarterback. Okay, so you just lose some games that you really ought to win, make that real Heisman statement, and you can't really do that the way that they're set up in LSU. Jalen Hurd could come in. Okay, your long and away favorite is still Leonard Fournette, but I could see a world, okay, where Jalen Hurd could be a dark horse to win the Heisman Trophy. I like him a lot. He's strong. He's fast. He could lose some yards to Dobbs, and he could lose some yards to Kamara. But ultimately, He's the featured back here, and he's got as good a shot as anybody. My point is your team is no longer young. This is the team. Okay, this is the year to try and make that college football playoff. It's not going to be easy, but you're in the SEC East, so that helps some. And then you've got a talented cast around you, and you've got a puncher's chance of making the SEC championship game and winning it. So why not? Why not? So there's that, and then the exposure of playing at Bristol Motor Speedway. You have a school here that really you look at what happened to Baylor. And it is kind of sad that you have to compare the school to Baylor, because Baylor was nothing and always the team that got beat up on for eternity, going all the way back to the Southwest Conference days before any of those schools were in the Big 12. Baylor was the team that got beaten up on. And Tennessee wasn't that. Tennessee has the rich history and everything, but they've fallen on such hard times that, yeah, you were the school that got beat up on too. And you could have a resurgence that's not unlike what's happening at Baylor if you're able to capitalize on the national exposure of games like the Bristol Motor Speedway game and the great recruiting classes that you've gotten and the talent that you have on that roster, where you've got guys that are borderline household names here in the South. You just have to capitalize. You imagine like all of those guys that I mentioned previously, Dobbs and Hurd. These are all guys that are going to be like at the SEC media days. You know this, right? Like that you have to bring those guys along. Even though Josh Dobbs still sounds like he's very young, like he still sounds like a high schooler. That's just his voice, but I'm just saying, like he sounds very, 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 very young. You're listening to AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio, Clutch with Keon Rose. Just another quick news story here. Left tackle Cam Robinson and safety Hootie Jones of Alabama will be arraigned June 16th. They were arrested this past week on weapons charges. And, you know, it's it's one of those situations, again, where you're bringing guys into your program, and the decision making there, and it's not like the two guys that shot up their dorm room with BB guns. I don't think that there was any criminal intent there. You just had two guys being stupid guys, as college guys can oftentimes be. But here with the weapons charges, you've just got to be smarter than this. What are you doing? What are you doing? You play Alabama football. Why are you with these weapons? What are you doing with these weapons? Like, I don't understand the thought processes behind that. And furthermore, it seems to be one of those things that Alabama football, you win championships, it all gets swept underneath the rug. We don't talk about all of the Alabama arrests the way we talk about all of the, Florida arrests when Urban Meyer was here, or the Tennessee arrests, or even the Baylor arrests, or the big high-profile ones. We talk about all of those, and yet you'd think Alabama's would be higher profile. They just kind of slide under the radar, like we're just used to college athletes and gun charges and Alabama. Like those three words in a sentence don't set off any alarms the way that they ought to, which I think is strange. But that's neither here nor there. Those two guys will be arraigned on June 16th for the weapons charges that they were arrested for. I want to talk about the University of Tennessee, because what they're doing here is interesting in as much as we've talked about satellite camps this entire offseason, to the point where it's the new Deflategate. Everybody's talking about satellite camps because we're all interested in how this whole situation is going to play out, but nobody actually wants to talk about satellite camps because we're tired of everyone being interested in how this whole situation is going to play out. So Jim Harbaugh did probably more in abusing satellite camps than anybody on earth, because they always existed. We never had this conversation before about satellite camps. I don't even think most people were aware of what it is that satellite camps were, because it was happening and nobody cared. It didn't bother anybody. And then Jim Harbaugh did the thing that he does, where he finds something to do and then he turns it all the way up to 12. Okay? Jim Harbaugh is that obnoxious friend in your car that is, you're listening to music, everybody's enjoying the music, but he can't enjoy the music unless everyone's ears are bleeding. He's that guy. He found the satellite camps and he turned it all the way up to 12. Okay. He's putting satellite camps everywhere, including in areas heavily populated by major Power 5 schools. And he's doing it aggressively, and he's doing it in such a way as to be completely annoying always. In true Jim Harbaugh fashion. He can't help himself. He's loud, he's abrasive, he's obnoxious, he's Jim Harbaugh. So he did all of those things. Satellite camps, of course, if you haven't heard by now, and goodness knows how you couldn't have it. Everyone keeps talking about them all the time, right? But satellite camps are universities set up football camps in other states to attract the attention and be able to talk to and recruit the local talent, the local prospects from that area. So you're in Michigan, you don't have as much football talent as the South does. You set up a satellite camp in Florida or Georgia or South Carolina. You set up a satellite camp in areas where there are a large amount of athletes. You invite those athletes to come train, and then you also get to recruit them while that's happening. Okay, and then, of course, the schools that this affects most are the ACC schools and the SEC schools. And they did not like this satellite camps, because obviously when somebody else is invading your area and recruiting the prospects that are just natively around you, that's a disadvantage to you. That's just a resource disadvantage. Plain and simple. It's not hard at all. But I really like what Tennessee is doing. I don't know that they've named it this, but this is the name that's kind of been floating around. It's the anti-satellite camp. And it's fascinating to me because Tennessee is basically capitalizing on the fact that all the local talent is here. Why leave and go set a satellite camp up somewhere else when you can just invite entire schools near you to go practice and train at your camps? And then you also get to show them your facilities, your actual facilities, not just your offsite, whatever local high school you happen to pop up to and say, hey, we're with the University of Michigan, but actually show them your facilities, show them that you're top notch, top of the line, and really take advantage of the fact that there is a lot of great football talent in Tennessee and Georgia, because that's where you're mostly recruiting from if you're Tennessee. You've got that opportunity to do that, and they have really done it. And what this has to do with Malcolm Gladwell and his book Outliers, I really, really enjoy that book, is he talks about the different advantages that people have in life that you don't get to choose them. And it goes beyond hard work, right? It's not like Tennessee's recruiters aren't working hard. They're working hard. But you also have the advantage of being in the South, where there are a lot of great athletes. Okay? You take the story of a guy like Bill Gates. Bill Gates grew up in a family that had a lot of money. So that helps because, when your family wants you to find something to do, computer programming is a thing that you can choose to do. Another advantage that Bill Gates had is that he was in the right time period before computers were easily accessible by everyone, and at the same time after computers were not accessible at all. So he landed right in the right area where he could get access to a computer that most people couldn't get access to, learn how to be a great programmer long before anybody ever had the chance, and then be able to apply that knowledge once computers became big and popular and wildly successful everywhere. Right? That is a huge advantage. That Bill went to a school where he could learn computer programming in high school. As a high schooler, he was learning how to program computers, and there was a computer center near him where he would just stay up all night programming and just learning how to program. Again, not taking away from the hard work of Bill Gates. You do need the hard work. That's not saying that he just by magic became the richest person in the world. But at the same time, Bill Gates did have some advantages that other people did not have. Okay. And you're in the South. And I see Alabama because Jim Harbaugh is annoying. You're setting up your satellite camps just outside of Detroit for the Sound Mind, Sound Body Academy that they're running up there. Alabama's trying to latch onto that, do satellite camps up in Michigan. You're in the South. Why do any of that? You have an inherent advantage that the competition does not have. You've got all the athletes over here. You're in the South, okay, the southeast region of the world, or you're in Texas, or you're in California. You have no reason to really be launching a ton of satellite camps, which isn't to say never recruit from outside of the area. But you've got the talent endemic to you. You're UCLA. You need to be doing what Tennessee's doing, okay? And Alabama needs to be doing more of it. Then I'm looking through the headlines, I'm reading the news, and the only school that I'm seeing come up as someone who's doing this very, very heavily is Tennessee. Even Clemson, where Dabo Swinney is saying, if a guy doesn't want to come to Clemson to see the school, okay, and I've got to set a satellite camp up to get his interest, yeah, he's probably not coming to Clemson anyway, and I don't want him. Fine, but then invite high schools to come to South Carolina. I don't know why this is a big boom topic, but I mean, I haven't seen anybody else really, really doing it. And that is puzzling because the advantage is so huge. Like you look at anybody's college football roster, okay, and there's just going to be a good portion of these guys that come from the South, right? Like another example of an initial advantage that becomes a giant advantage later on, baseball players. Baseball players, perfect, right? Because the cutoff for most youth baseball is July 1st, which means if you were born in July, August, or September, those months there, when it's time for all the kids, 9 and 10, to get into this youth baseball, who are the bigger, more coordinated kids? It's the kids born in July, August, September, because that's the oldest that you can be before that cutoff point. Everybody born in January, February, March, there's an overwhelming amount of those guys not playing baseball. Like, look at any baseball roster. Birthdays, July, August, September. Okay? Same thing goes for hockey. In Canada, their cutoff point is January 1st. Most hockey players, birthday, January, February, March. If you're born in September, August, October, sorry. There's some of those guys in the league, but mostly because you tend to be bigger earlier, you get coaching. You get to be on the elite teams that get coaching. You get more playing time, which means more time to learn how to be a great baseball player that the other guy's not getting. And then immediately you have advantages that he doesn't have. And those advantages continue to grow into bigger and bigger advantages. You're in the South, okay, and you've got Trinity Christian Academy right around the corner. Tennessee says, yeah, come on over here. Why? Because the initial advantage of having that guy near you means that he comes and he sees your practice facility. He gets to see your school be cool. He gets to see the coaches and talk to them firsthand, all of them, if you feel that desperate. You know, you're inviting guys that, you know, may be committed to Tennessee, but backed off for certain reasons. But he can't help it. Now he's on the campus looking, and maybe he changes his mind back. And that way, he still uses his the amount of visits that he has to go see other schools, but built into his time at his school, he sees the University of Tennessee. And that's an advantage that obviously grows into a gigantic advantage when it comes to familiarity with a prospect. Recruiting him then becomes much, much, much easier to do. You're listening to AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio, Clutch with Keon Rose. I tell you, this stuff applies to your actual real life. Where your parents came from, that stuff matters. Where you live, that stuff matters. Steph Curry is the greatest three-point shooter in the history of the NBA. His dad, Del Curry, was also one of the greatest three-point shooters in the history of the NBA. Tell me that that's not an accident. You live with that guy as your father. I mean, you ought to be a great shooter. Even his brother Seth, who isn't at his level, is a really good shooter. You've got Del Curry in your house. That's not something you're lacking in the ability to do. You're listening to AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio. Clutch with Keon Rose. We're going to break down last night's game with the Thunder and do more Heat or Cavs Raptors things on Clutch with Keon Rose. Next.
I'm blowing everything up. We're starting over. I'm doing a new show. I want guys who push it to the middle of the table and go over the top. Take a risk, fail miserably. I'm right, and I'm not wrong, and I'll never back down. Conflict works. Allow it.
It's The Herd with Colin Cowherd. Right here and everywhere. Noon Eastern.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds. We'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240. Finding just the right place to live can be a daunting task. Stop your search. In Chattanooga, the place to live is Cross Creek Villas for under $1,000 and available for immediate move-in. You can enjoy this 2-bedroom split layout, over 1,000 square feet, 9-foot ceilings, an extra-large patio or balcony. And don't forget to ask about their preferred employer program. Cross Creek Villas is a gated community, offering a 24-hour fitness facility, a beautiful pool and hot tub, and Cross Creek Villas is pet-friendly. Stroll the pet park with your best friend and enjoy the free use of their business center and clubhouse. Plus, if you mention you heard this on the radio, your application fee is free. Cross Creek Villas, close to downtown off of Highway 58. Go to crosscreekchattanooga.com. That's crosscreekchattanooga.com or call 894-0446. That's 894-0446. Redefine the way you live at Cross Creek Villas. Go to crosscreekchattanooga.com or call 894-0446. Cross Creek Villas.
Just imagine not a cloud in the sky. It's the perfect day on the water. You could be enjoying boating with friends or wetting your line to catch a fish. Or maybe it's just you and that special someone on a sunset cruise. All of this without the hassle of owning a boat, with your membership in the Carefree Boat Club. As you relax and spend time with the ones you care about, you have the peace of mind of knowing you're a member of the Carefree Boat Club. Weekends were made for relaxing and being hassle-free, just like the Carefree Boat Club. Let us take the worry out of boat ownership. No matter if you enjoy fishing, skiing, cruising the lake, or maybe even an overnight adventure, we have a boat for you at the Carefree Boat Club. Start making memories today. Call 423-619-7156 to join. Boating season is here, so do not wait. Call now, 423-619-7156. Carefree Boat Club is located at the Harbor Lights Marina, 9718 Hickson Pike.
Poof! Just like a magician, Les's Pawn Shop can turn the stuff that's just lying around in your house and garage into cold, hard cash. Les's Pawn Shop on Highway 58 in Chattanooga will buy, sell, and scrap anything of value. Hey, and get this. If you're looking for anything from guns and jewelry to guitars and tools, you'll find it at Les's Pawn Shop. Quality pre-owned items. Les's Pawn Shop on Highway 58 in Chattanooga also buys gold and silver at top prices. And if they don't have it, they can order it for you. Les's Pawn Shop, Highway 58 in Chattanooga, where you'll get top dollar for your stuff. And you'll be surprised at the wide variety of our unique items. So the next time you're looking to buy, sell, trade, or scrap anything, from jewelry to coins and currency, guns and ammo, music and tools, stop by Les's Pawn Shop, 4742 Highway 58, Chattanooga. Call 702-5868. That's 702-5868. LesPawnShop.com. That's Les with one S, pawnshop.com. Poof! Just like a magician, Les's Pawn Shop can turn the stuff that's just lying around in your house and garage into cold, hard cash.
Expect more clouds and mild weather through the nighttime. Still mainly dry, lows up around 60. For Friday, scattered showers and thunderstorms will march in from the south and west. Could be a pretty wet afternoon, highs closer to 70, with drier and pleasant weather for the weekend, highs mid and upper 70s. Business needs can change in an instant. AccountTemp's flexible staffing solutions provides accounting and finance professionals whenever you need them. Visit AccountTemps.com. That's AccountTemps, a Robert Half company. And I'm Storm Team 12 Chief Meteorologist Patrick Core.
On AM 1240, Hot News Talk Radio.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds. We'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240. AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio with your Hot News Now update. The chemical fluoride in the drinking water of Northwest Hamilton County has been given a 2-month reprieve. Members of the board of Northwest Utility District heard arguments back and forth Tuesday night about fluoride,
which is used in drinking water to strengthen teeth, but they delayed voting on the proposal to abolish the chemical. Several dentists spoke in favor of adding the material to water supplies. Opponents condemned the practice as damaging to human neurological health. Full coverage is at Nooganomics.com. In Chattanooga, 3 people have died of heroin overdose in just 4 days. Law enforcement agencies believe that there is a growing heroin epidemic in Chattanooga. They say that not much has been written about the growth. Deaths from opioid overdose have been climbing rapidly in the past few years. Mayor Andy Burke says that surveillance cameras are needed in high-crime neighborhoods. He's asking for $703,000 in the 2017 budget to create a real-time intelligence center. Chattanooga police say that they would need about $250,000 of those funds to spend on cameras in some of the city's hotspots of crime. If it's going on in the Tennessee Valley, it's going on Hot News Talk Radio.
Hot News Talk 1240.
So I want to jump into a little bit of basketball talk, I promise, because we gave you a whole day of basketball talk yesterday, and I'm sorry, sort of. I enjoyed it. What do you want me to talk about? Okay, it's college football, NFL offseason. We're in like the beginning of the dog days of baseball summer. And the Braves aren't any good. Like if the Braves were good, this would be great. They're not. I don't want to sit down and just talk about how bad the Braves are. Like they're terrible. We understand that. It's not news to anybody. All that's on is the NBA, and it's really interesting. Okay, I watched the Thunder and Warriors play last night. It wasn't the game was lopsided, but it wasn't terrible basketball. Again, the mismatches that worked in favor of Oklahoma City work horrifyingly against their favor when Westbrook and Durant don't play well. Okay, and Durant played okay. He played about, he had 29 points last night. Really, coming into halftime, that lead that the Warriors had, that 10-point lead that they opened up going into the half, could have been a whole lot worse. Kevin Durant was willing them into the game. But the team is not designed to play well when Durant and Westbrook don't play well. And Westbrook is as hit or miss a guy as there is in human history when it comes to shooting. And the Warriors stuck to the same plan that they had in game 1, which is that they let Westbrook shoot. And it didn't work in game 1. It worked really well in game 2. Thunder got beaten by 27 points. Steph Curry had a 17-point third quarter. If there's anybody on this earth that heats up faster than that guy, I'd like to find him. It'd give him a contract to play somewhere, preferably the Wizards, because that's who I root for, or the Hawks, because the Hawks could really use some help. But the situation with Steph Curry is interesting because I'm starting to hear the things about Steph that I wondered when that was going to happen with him, when people were going to start hating Steph Curry, when Steph was going to start drawing the kind of ire that LeBron gets. Like LeBron is a guy, we don't even vote. We don't consider LeBron to be the front runner for the MVP because we are bored with his act. It's an amazing act, and we're bored with his act. Like LeBron, do something else. Like what else do you want the guy to do? He's Magic Johnson and Michael Jordan and I don't even know who else. Rolled into one guy. Charles Barkley. Prime Charles Barkley. Like rolled into one guy. He rebounds like a monster. He's incredibly fast. He makes any shot that he takes on the floor. His court vision is spectacular. We're bored with LeBron. And Steph Curry is doing something on the basketball floor that we have never seen. Okay? A guy with handles like that even Allen Iverson is like, he handles the ball better than I do. A guy with a release that fast and with range that deep. We've seen the three of those things in the NBA before. We've just never seen the three of those things in one guy. And I'm hearing the rumblings of Steph's not that great. And part of it, too, is that Steph Curry got injured in the playoffs and the Warriors won some games without him. Like, yes, if you take Steph Curry off the Warriors, they're still a very good basketball team. You took Michael Jordan off the Bulls, that was still a very good basketball team. They were one game away from going to the NBA Finals without Jordan, okay, who by many accounts is the best player that ever played basketball. I'm starting to get to the point where I might put LeBron up top, okay, because I don't do ring counting, okay? It's a terrible metric. LeBron James is not impressing us anymore, and Steph Curry and what he does is starting to not impress us either, which is absurd because he scored 17 points in one quarter last night. And that is a game for most people. Okay? Really great point guard, played for the other team. His name is Russell Westbrook. You might have heard of him. Russell had 16 points in the game. In the game. Steph had 17 in the third quarter. And it bothers me. I didn't expect it to bother me, but it bothers me. We have greatness right in front of us, and we don't want to accept it. And here's the thing. We will eventually. Like, we will look back and say, yeah, tell your kids, your grandkids that you were watching Steph Curry. And you should have seen him. Okay? I'll tell you a story about my father. Okay? Because here's what I'll tell you about my father. My father was a great man. My father was also kind of a hater. You just get tired of hearing of guys. He would get tired of hearing the guys, and he would just dislike them. My father never liked Tom Brady. My father never liked LeBron James. My father never liked Kobe Bryant. My father never liked Michael Jordan. He didn't like Jordan. You just get tired of hearing about Michael Jordan this and Michael Jordan that. And I remember the man not liking Michael Jordan. Okay. The first 3 championships of Jordan, those were cool. He was fine with that. The last 3, he didn't like Jordan. I would rather not, in that way, I would rather not be like my dad. I would rather not spend the time hating the athletes that are really, really good just because we hear a lot about them and it's kind of annoying. And guess what? We hear about them more now in the way our culture works, the way that we cover everything on TV, and we're in the age of the internet, and there's a podcast and I'll blog for everything. You hear about Steph Curry about 100 times more than you ever heard about Jordan because of the age that we're in. With the way that people act towards the great players that we've got now, you would be thinking that you would hate Jordan today. If you don't like Steph now, you would hate Jordan, and you would think of any number of reasons. Yeah, the main thing you always heard about Jordan is the same thing that you actually heard about Kobe. He's a ball hog. Okay, the last great player that my father liked from the beginning of his career to the end of his career, Magic Johnson, which is how Magic Johnson came to be my favorite basketball player ever, possibly. I mean, I just lived in a house with a man that was his biggest fan. I mean, it's just how that worked out. But like, that's the only guy. Okay, where we're at with Steph Curry is that people are getting tired of hearing about him and hearing about how he's the greatest thing ever. And I understand the fatigue. Okay, by the time we get to the end of this election cycle, for example, we're going to be tired of hearing about Trump. I'm already tired about hearing about him, but we're going to be also tired about hearing about Hillary. Some of you are already tired of hearing about her. We're just going to be tired. I mean, I'm burnt out on all of them, to be honest with you. I'm tired of hearing about Cruz and Sanders and Hillary and Trump. We cover it 24/7 because that's the way our news works. You just have to fill the time with something. You can't just sit there and look at the camera. You hear that silence? It's unsettling. You don't want to hear silence. We've got to fill it with something. And right now, Steph Curry is great at not just an average level or a really good level or a great level, a historic level. we'll be hard-pressed to find another guy that's going to do the things that he's done, okay? All of the three-point shooters in the history of the National Basketball Association, records have just been smashed. Ray Allen's postseason records going down. Reggie Miller's postseason records going down. Single-season shooting records going down. I mean, he's dropping them all. He's the best three-point shooter that this game has ever had because he's got something that no other three-point shooter has ever had. Handles. And a fast release. Okay? We've had guys that have had handles and fast releases. Allen Iverson. But Allen Iverson never shot the three this well. We had guys that had handles and range. You know, I mean, I think of, you know, for instance, Kevin Durant, but Kevin Durant's release is not anywhere near where Steph's release is. Now, Kevin Durant has one beautiful advantage, which is that he's nearly 7 feet tall. So really, what good is a super fast release when most people can't block you anyway? He does that little Dirk lean away shot. I mean, that's unblockable as there is a thing on earth that is unstoppable. When he is making that shot, you can't defend that. There's no way. It's like the sky hook. You can't defend that. But it's crazy that we're getting bored with greatness. I shudder to think about it because it's just like, what impresses us anymore? Or are we just so oversaturated with stuff that we can't appreciate any longer? Like, what is happening before our eyes is historic. Steph right now is the best basketball player in the National Basketball Association. If you had to start a team with any one person on earth, if you didn't start it with Steph, my team's going to beat your team because I'm taking Steph. Okay, I can add the other guys in there. The other guys are going to have to be great too. But I'm starting it with Steph. Okay, it goes back to that idea of having an initial advantage. That I don't want to talk to you about an initial advantage and say that person didn't work hard. Their advantage was huge, so they didn't work hard. People who achieve greatness still have to work very, very hard. But you are aided by your environment too. Steph Curry is a great basketball player and possibly the best in the league right now. You shouldn't take that away from him because his team is also really good. Okay? Malcolm Gladwell, quote again. This is the crux of the show. Just if you haven't noticed yet, I've been obsessed with the book, so now you're just going to hear it all. I'm sorry. That's just the way it is. But he makes the analogy of an oak tree that grows up to be a great oak tree, a gigantic oak tree, that the seeds matter. That if you come from a great seed, that matters. However, when the oak tree is just a little tiny sapling, if a squirrel chews it to death, it's not going to become a great oak tree. And if it's blocked out from any sunlight when it's an even bigger tree, it's not going to become a great oak tree. And if it's a pretty decent sized tree that looks like it's good for lumber and a lumberjack shows up and takes the tree out, it's not going to become a great oak tree. The only way that happens is if the tree's a little bit lucky. Okay? You're Steph Curry. You could be the greatest three-point shooter in the history of the game. You could finish outside the three-point line with a percentage that makes no sense. You could finish inside the paint at 6'4" with a percentage that puts you right up there with LeBron James, who is enormous, and you are not enormous. You could do all of those things, but you're not winning an NBA title without Draymond Green and Klay Thompson. That's a great team. Steve Kerr, that's a great coach. Because remember, Steph and Klay, they were the Splash Brothers before Steve Kerr got there. But they weren't winning a championship with Mark Jackson. And we all knew this. Like Mark Jackson, they didn't run a real offense at the end of games. It was like a caveman offense. It didn't do things. You know what I mean? But you're Michael Jordan. You're not winning titles without Pippen. You're not winning titles without Rodman. You just aren't. Okay? You're not winning titles without Kerr. That the Michael Jordan era Bulls relied on Steve Kerr to take and make a lot of big shots at the end of games. So why is it that we take it away from Steph for being great? Because his team is also great. Why can it not be both? The reason is, of course, that we fall in love with the narrative, which is probably the most talked about thing on this show. But it's talked about a lot because it is important. That's how we view sports, is through the narrative of a story. In fact, it's not just how we view sports, it's how we view life through the story of a narrative. The story that you tell yourself about how you got to be where you are is important to your personality. Okay? The things you look back on your life, and there have been a lot of studies to show this, people will downplay how much luck has helped them in life, and they will play up how much bad luck has held them back, because that makes the story better. And the story of how great Steph Curry is means that if you acknowledge that his team is also amazing, he is somehow less great. And we have to walk away from that, because that doesn't make any sense. You just think about it. Like, yes, if you take LeBron James off the Cavaliers, they don't even make the playoffs. I get that. That makes a ton of sense. If you take Steph Curry off the Warriors, they probably do make the Western Conference playoffs. They don't go anywhere, admittedly. I mean, we saw the way that offense worked against the Rockets when Steph wasn't there. There were just nights where they needed him to stretch the floor in the absurd way that he does stretch the floor. You can't take away from the greatness of somebody because their team is also great. That's illogical. It doesn't make any sense. You're listening to AM 1240, Hot News Talk Radio, Clutch with Keon Rose. That's me. Thank you for joining me today, giving me just a little slice of your day. You know that I appreciate you. I'm looking at ESPN's website, and there are articles on there that'll make you scratch your head, just make you wonder what the writer there was thinking. And there was an article about SEC West sleeper teams. And one of the sleeper teams to make the college football playoff, not win the SEC, not make it to the title game, to make it to the college football playoff, Texas A&M. And I understand why someone would want to put A&M in the mix. Again, as a sleeper, to be fair. We're not saying they're the front runner. We're not saying that they're the odds-on favorite. But A&M, even as a sleeper, to me, seems foolhardy or short-sighted, or I don't know how else to say it, because we keep picking A&M to be this trendy sleeper pick. Like every year, A&M is the sleeper pick. They're the sleeper pick annually. And I find that fascinating, because if you look at the results of what it is that they do year after year, haven't even come close to living up to it. They've gotten the reputation, I guess, under, that 1 year with Manziel where they beat Alabama, and then the next year where they were down a lot to Alabama and came really close to beating Alabama, which, is a lot to ask for, quite frankly. And offensively, they're exciting. They're a very explosive team offensively. They've gotten Trevor Knight from Oklahoma to be their quarterback, sort of solving some of those quarterback woes that you thought they were going to have after all their quarterbacks basically took a mass exodus from the school because of the lack of discipline. You see these things happen, and I couldn't understand why someone would want to pick A&M to be the sleeper pick to basically represent the SEC in the college football playoff. You could presumably have more than one school there, but their whole habit of giving conference champions a bid over other schools to make the college football playoff leads me to believe that we're probably never going to see, in the current format with just the 4 schools in the college football playoff, more than one SEC school in the playoff. It's probably not going to happen. And that's a little egregious because I think there's definitely points in the season where you're looking at the playoff and going, there are 2 schools in the SEC that could represent this, and rightfully so. But then those schools end up playing each other and cannibalizing one another. It's never going to happen. The 1-loss, 2-loss schools that are really, really good and on the cusp, you don't win your conference championship, you don't get in. I mean, we literally watched college football in a season where TCU and Baylor were named co-champions, and neither of them got in because you didn't win it outright. Picking A&M to be your sleeper pick here is a little crazy. It's a little crazy. Even as a sleeper pick, wouldn't your sleeper pick from the SEC to represent the SEC in the college football playoff, which I have, again, you would have to convince me, by the way, that it's not going to be Alabama again, because you don't need to know the name of whatever quarterback Alabama trots out there. You really don't. Whatever quarterback Alabama runs out there is going to be a guy that can turn around and give it to whoever's running. That's what they do. They are a giant tank and they run over everybody. So you're gonna have trouble already convincing me that it's not going to be Alabama. But say you take Alabama off the list. In the SEC as a whole, you'll have trouble convincing me that in a game against Tennessee or a game, and it all depends on how the quarterback thing works out in Georgia, against Georgia, that A&M is going to beat either of those schools. They're not better. And there's a reason why Trevor Knight is no longer at Oklahoma. He wasn't very good. He was okay. Throwing the ball, the accuracy was sporadic. His arm is strong. His accuracy is low. And he can run, but it's not fast. He's a big dude. He's hard to tackle, but he's not impossible to tackle. He's not like Cam at Auburn. Like Cam at Auburn was impossible to tackle. Tebow at Florida was impossible to tackle. And Trevor Knight's not those guys. And A&M throws the ball a lot. Like they throw it all over the yard. Like they play a little bit like they're still in the Big 12. I just have trouble seeing all of that and how all of that's going to work. Like A&M as a sleeper from the SEC to represent them in the college football playoff. That absurd. That is one of the single most absurd things I think I've read on the internet in the past week and a half. Okay, and I read some stuff about how the earth is flat from crazy people. So that one's a hard one to wrap your mind around. Go ahead and think about that a little bit. You're listening to AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio, Clutch with Keon Rose. I think that the SEC, as we end up going deeper and deeper into this satellite camp debate, and I'm jumping back there for just a minute, but the deeper we go into this satellite camp debate, the SEC has the advantage with or without satellite camps. And I would like for everyone to stop making a giant deal about this stuff when you consider what it is that you can do to counter that. Take a look at what the Vols are doing. Invite people to your school. And let's stop whining and complaining about satellite camps. You can do something that the Northerners can't do, which is be next to the best talent-producing schools in the nation. Okay, you're next to Trinity. You're next to Brentwood. Like, wait, what are we doing? Seriously? You're listening to AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio, Clutch with Keon Rose. Thank you for joining me today, giving me just a little slice of your day. Thank you, as always, for interacting with us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube by searching Hot News Talk Radio. And remember, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. Stay clutch, and I'll see you in 24 hours.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
Fox News Talk 1240. Shake, shake, shake it at Five Guys Burgers and Fries. The most delicious and unique milkshakes. How about this for delicious and different? Add freshly cooked bacon to any milkshake.
Is that even legal?
You bet your milkshake and booty it is. Chocolate caramel bacon shake. Coffee caramel shake. All hand blended. Shake, shake, shake it. Down at Five Guys Burgers and Fries. Just about any flavor shake that you can imagine. And they are delicious. Get your shake, shake, shake on at Five Guys Burgers and Fries. Five Guys Burgers and Fries, located in Hickson at North Point. Gun Barrel at the Walmart Center. Downtown 4th and Broad. And in Cleveland at Keith and Stewart. Shake, shake, shake. Shake, shake, shake.
Is that even legal?
Do you feel better outside your home or business than in? Indoor air quality is important. Mildew, mold, smoke, water, and rodent damage are prime causes of poor indoor air quality. Ducts, Indoor Air Professionals, better known as Duct Busters, cleans HVAC systems using 127 definable Duct Busters steps. Let Mark Thompson address the indoor air quality at your business to help reduce employee illnesses. Prevent fires by cleaning your dryer vents. Mark and his parents, Dick and Joan Thompson, have been building our local economy and helping local people with HVAC systems 16 years. Ducts, Indoor Air Professionals. Call 876-9907. 876-9907. Ducks. Call now.
Cash, 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 and more cash. Rick Davis is sitting on a mountain of cash, and he wants to give it to you. Hey, it's a fair trade for unwanted coins, diamonds, bracelets, antiques, silver flatware, pocket and wristwatches, pins and jewelry. It's so high that mountain of cash is nearly as tall as a billboard. Rick Davis Gold and Diamonds, paying you top dollar for your valuables. Turn them into cold, hard cash. See Rick Davis Gold and Diamonds now. Brainerd Road near Eastgate Town Center. Cash, 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 and more cash. Unlimited streaming, T-Mobile. No overages. T-Mobile. Get the latest Samsung smartphones. T-Mobile. No credit check required. T-Mobile. Let's set the record straight on coverage. T-Mobile has the best coverage in the Chattanooga area. For a limited time, get 50% off a Samsung tablet when you buy a select Samsung Galaxy smartphone. Only at T-Mobile. T-Mobile, doing data differently. T-Mobile. Unlimited streaming. No overages. T-Mobile. Route 153 Hickson. Next to Starbucks. Open till 8. Call 876-9022. That's 876-9022 for T-Mobile.
Hi, I'm Sabrina with Sabrina Realty Associates. Now is a great time to sell your home. In our area, inventory is at an all-time low, which translates into higher sales prices. Call us today at 423-499-7780 to set up a free consultation and discuss our unique and aggressive marketing programs. We will provide you with a free market analysis to determine the right value of your home. Call us today at 423-499-7780.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
WSDT Saudi Daisy, Chattanooga.
The mystery of Egypt Air 804.
Indications are that the aircraft fell like a rock.
Does Hillary Clinton think Donald Trump is qualified to be president?
No, I do not.
This is the CBS World News Roundup Late Edition. I'm Bill Whitney. The search goes on in the Mediterranean for the Airbus A320 that dropped out of the sky last night. There was no distress call. The plane was flying from Paris to Cairo with 66 people aboard. Sky News reporter Mark Stone went to Charles de Gaulle Airport where the flight originated.
Within hours of the news that the plane had come down, family and friends of those on board began to gather at the airport. As much as they could be at a desperately difficult time. Most of the passengers were Egyptian and French. In all, there were people from 12 countries on the plane. Among them, a child and 2 babies. Some were heading on holiday, others for business, some going home.
CBS News investigative producer Pat Milton has been talking to her sources.
One U.S. intelligence source said that all indications are that there was a catastrophic event that took place on Egypt Air 804. Investigators believe that due in part to the tracking of the aircraft's flight path and the high rate of speed that the aircraft was descended to the earth. This particular source said that indications are that the aircraft fell like a rock.
Investigators don't know whether this disaster was due to mechanical failure or a deliberate act. U.S. intelligence did not detect an explosion. If terrorists were involved, they haven't said so. There's been no claim of responsibility. Hillary Clinton on CNN this morning said she does not think Donald Trump has the qualities required of a president.
I know how hard this job is, and I know that we need steadiness as well as strength and smarts in it. And I have concluded he is not qualified.
Clinton made clear she will not shrink from attacking Trump's record.
I'm going after him. I'm going after him exactly on those issues and statements that are divisive and dangerous.
Correspondent Major Garrett says Trump signaled he won't hold back when he mentioned last night that a woman once accused Bill Clinton of rape.
What Trump is trying to do to protect himself is say to Hillary and Bill, if you go down this road, I will not just bring up Bill's past, but I will put it in the context of Hillary Clinton being an enabler of your bad behavior and choosing you over the women she now says she wants to represent and will look out for their best interests.
In the latest CBS News New York Times poll, neither candidate is viewed very favorably.
6 in 10 voters say that neither Clinton nor Trump shares their values, and a majority don't see either as honest. Both candidates get good marks on leadership. More than half think they are strong leaders.
Jennifer DePinto of our survey unit. The Dow fell 91 points today, closing at 17,435. The NASDAQ down 26. Now this.
Are you hiring but not sure where to find the best candidates? As a business owner, I can tell you that your company is only as good as the people you hire. I can also tell you that posting your job in one place isn't enough to find quality candidates. But when you're short-staffed, there's no time to deal with the dozens of different job sites. Until now, thanks to ZipRecruiter.com, I can post to 100-plus job sites with one single click and be instantly matched to candidates from over 6 million resumes. Just post once, and within 24 hours, watch your candidates roll into ZipRecruiter's easy-to-use interface. ZipRecruiter has been used by over 400,000 businesses, and you can try it right now for free. Getting the right people for your company is so important. Try ZipRecruiter and get your perfect candidate before they go to somebody else. Today, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/talk. That's ZipRecruiter.com/talk. Again, ZipRecruiter.com/talk.
Just a week after his retirement, correspondent Morley Safer died today at 84. Correspondent Frank Sedapani looks back.
Morley Safer said he knew from the start that he wanted to be a journalist.
Like a lot of people of my era, I was Hemingway bit, and he had been a foreign correspondent.
And he was so determined, he quit college and got a job at a small newspaper, even though he still didn't know how to type. In 1964, Safer joined CBS News as a foreign correspondent.
This is what the war in Vietnam is all about.
Then Harry Reasoner left 60 Minutes in 1970.
And they brought me in to be the other guy.
The other guy opposite Mike Wallace. 60 Minutes would keep Safer on the road for decades, doing investigations, celebrity interviews, arts coverage, and pretty much anything else that captured his interest. Frank Sedapani, CBS.
AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio with your chance to win $124 in cash and $124 in food every week with the Hot News Talk Radio 5 Guys Burgers and Fries 1, 2, 3 NASCAR contest. All you have to do is guess who's going to be first, second, and third place in the upcoming NASCAR Sprint Cup race. If you guess it, you'll hear your name live Monday morning at 11:30. Then call AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio to win. Enter your guess right now at 5 Guys Burgers and Fries, 153 in Hickson, featuring the juiciest 100% all beef, have it your way hamburgers and the most delicious milkshakes in town. Rick Davis Golden Diamonds, 5301 Brainerd Road, Chattanooga. Wimpy's Restaurant in Soddy Daisy across from City Hall. Lester's Pawn Shop, 4742 Highway 58, Chattanooga. And Shooter's Supply, 4824 Hickson Pike in Hickson. Enter your guesses now and listen to the race live to win $124 in cash and $124 in food from Chattanooga's official NASCAR radio station.
Hot News Talk 1240.
I love NASCAR.
Expect more clouds and mild weather through the nighttime. Still mainly dry, lows up around 60. For Friday, scattered showers and thunderstorms will march in from the south and west. Could be a pretty wet afternoon. Highs closer to 70 with drier and pleasant weather for the weekend. Highs mid and upper 70s. Business needs can change in an instant. Accountemps Flexible Staffing Solutions provides accounting and finance professionals whenever you need them. Visit AccountTemps.com. That's AccountTemps, a Robert Half company. And I'm Storm Gene 12, Chief Meteorologist Patrick Core.
On AM 1240, Hot News Talk Radio.
Unlimited streaming, T-Mobile. No overages. T-Mobile. Get the latest Samsung smartphones. T-Mobile.